Another edition of Wine Wednesday. I am here with Lexi from
Hello.
Eclipses for Eyes, and I bought you a special wine just for you, but we weren't sure if it was vegan. So Lexi brought her own wine, so feel free to tell them about your wine.
So this is my favorite wine. It is Yellowtail brand, which is vegan, which is super important because not every wine is vegan. And it's a 60-40 blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, so it's like a nice red, full body wine.
I like it. I think you're more of a connoisseur than I am. I think you officially got me good.
I am definitely a wino, so oh well.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Cheers. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Definitely come and comment at the end. I'm going to swipe away because I don't want to see all your comments right now, but we'll talk at the end of this. So how's it going?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah? How was Japan?
It was really sick. It was like really crowded, and that was like kind of hard for me because turns out I'm a little claustrophobic. So
really?
It was kind of hard, but it was very beautiful, and there's so much history there. I felt like I learned a lot just going.
Where were you? Were you in the city, or were you kind of going around?
Well, I traveled around a little bit. I stayed in Iwakuni, which is south of Hiroshima, and then so I just like went to Hiroshima and visited. I went to this island called Miyajima, and then I also went to, I took the bullet train, which was crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. I went to Kyoto, which is like a really old city there that's just like ancient. They have like tons of temples, and the bamboo forest is there. And
we took a picture with like the deer and these like little wood plank things. Was that one Kyoto?
That was actually in Miyajima, which is like an island, and so there's temples all over the island, and there's just deer, and the deer just like are curious and really friendly, and they're
come
wild.
Up to people?
They'll just come up to you and just like investigate and see if you have food, probably, but. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I can see you digging that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I got a really good laugh because my mom had just gotten a brochure, and so then like this deer comes up to her to like smell her, and she was like, "Oh, hi!" She like pets him on the head, and he takes a bite out of the brochure. He's like, "Is that
food?"
Yeah, and she wanted it, and so she was like pulling, like no, and like pulling it, and the deer's like holding on to it and wouldn't let go, and I was like laughing so hard, and then my brother took a picture. So somewhere there's just this picture of my mom like this, like holding a brochure and a deer pulling it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It's so epic. But
that's the calmest wildlife I've ever heard. What was your favorite place? Did you have like a favorite?
Well, I really liked Miyajima because of the deer, and there's just also because there's just all these Buddhist temples there, and it was just so cool to like learn about the history. Like some of those temples are literally hundreds and hundreds of years old, so it's just like going to a place like that where it's like, man, all of this has been here, and this culture is just so rich and like just way before anyone I know was even an idea, you know? It's like really like makes you like have a better understanding of like earth and more like respect for like culture.
Is Buddhism like the primary religion there? I'm not really sure.
You know what? I'm not sure either, but there was a lot of temples.
A lot of Buddhist temples. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. And they let you go in? Did you get to like comb the Zen gardens or like meet the monks? Or?
I stumbled into this one. I did see some monks, but I stumbled into this one temple where there was these two like Buddhist practitioners. I'm not really sure like what they want to be called, but two people who practice Buddhism, and they were in there and they were like singing and doing this chant in like another language, and I was like not sure if I was supposed to be in there or not because I just kind of was like by myself. You didn't know if you were like
killing the vibe? Or?
Yeah, and they were just going to town, and I felt like the sound in the room was like really like echoey and full, and like I couldn't move. I just like stood there and I just like listened to it, and I was just like, wow.
You should have just acapella'd your own solo right there. You guys are having a spiritual experience, just watch this right here.
It was really cool though, because they have like, outside the temples, they have like buckets of incense and stuff, and so you'll go and like do a prayer and like burn incense and stuff, and so it was really cool, and I actually kind of like weirdly followed those guys to the next place they went because I was curious, and I was like, man, that was really cool, so like want to like see what else they were doing.
Did they show you any of like the traditions or rituals that they go through?
I'm not really sure that they spoke English, so I didn't.
This is a real deal experience.
Yeah, it was really intense, but I wasn't sure if they spoke English, but I didn't want to like bother them, so I just kind of like pretended I was like going to look at something near them, but really I was like going to investigate. Like, what else are you gonna do? And
you're like,
then,
here's the deer, here's the monks.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then there was one. They like were playing drums in like this temple, and it was so cool because you could just hear it. Like,
that is really
it's
cool.
so hard to explain, but it's like when there's like a really big room and then like really powerful drums and like really like dense full voices, and you're just like, oh my god, this is crazy.
So epic.
It was so cool.
It's so interesting to see how like music is so entrenched within religion, even for
every
like
culture too.
Every culture, like completely separated. Like Buddhism is completely separated from, you know, Hebrew religions and whatnot. So yeah, man, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. It was awesome.
When I messaged you about doing Wine Wednesday, it was the same. Literally an hour after I had messaged you, I received like a notification on my phone about North Korea launching missiles over Japan. Were you like aware of that situation as it was happening while you were visiting?
Okay, so you know how in Arizona you get like dust storm warnings on your phone, and so like all of a sudden everyone's phones go off and everyone's like, oh, there's a dust storm. Well, they do that in Japan, but for earthquakes and for missile launches. And so everybody...
Was there an earthquake warning while you were there?
No, but my brother lives there, so he was telling me about it.
Oh, I didn't realize you had family there. That's
cool.
Yeah,
my brother lives in Japan, and that's why I went. I went to go visit him. Yeah, so he's in the military.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Props to him.
So he knew about it, and
so
he actually told me.
super aware of this.
Yeah, he knew, and he told me, and I was like, oh, honestly, I didn't think much of it, but I got
He wasn't too worried or alarmed? Or...
No, I think that, yeah.
What was the feel of the rest of the city, you know?
Like, during that time?
Yeah.
I don't know, no one really, like, I mean, hardly anyone speaks English there. Like, it's
really,
yeah, like, hardly anybody.
It's such, like, an Americanized... Well, it's funny that you're talking about all these, like, Buddhist temples and rich history, but I feel like Japan is probably one of the most Americanized... Not the most Americanized place, but I feel like they very heavily incorporate our culture within their own, like, society over there.
If anything, I feel like they're so much, like, further ahead. Like, there were so many things that I noticed while I was there that just blew my mind, and everybody else was, like, so used to it. Like, just little things, like convenience things.
What can we adopt from them?
Well, one really amazing thing that I saw is in the parking lots, every row has a stick, and if the stick is, like, lit green, then there's a parking spot open.
Oh, that's so...
It's genius. So simple, so, like, oh... Yeah.
There really is a reason why they are so far ahead of us in engineering and like car design and stuff for so many years. I think they really do think ahead on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It was very like forward. But everybody there is like really nice, and they're not like, I don't know, impatient like Americans are and stuff. Yeah. They're very like just really nice, but like not very many people speak English. So that is kind of hard.
Right. Were you using like your phones to translate it all? Or?
Yeah, I did that a little bit, but also you just, you know, you learn some symbols and you learn a couple phrases.
Was your brother, had he learned any Japanese, or was he so much on base and so entrenched with his own, you know?
He learned enough to be able to like ask questions. So he knows a little bit, but yeah.
That's
really
cool.
It was fine, but it was cool.
How was it for like... Obviously, you're strict with your veganism.
Yeah.
That you're bringing your own wine here. How was the culture for like your dietary restrictions? Like, was it pretty accommodating, or was it a little difficult? I imagine a lot of seafood there.
Yeah, it was actually really hard. I ate mostly rice while I was there.
Rice.
Yeah, I just ate mostly rice while I was there. But it's also like, yeah, because everything there is made with fish or dashi, which is like fish broth, and so they'll cook vegetables in the dashi sauce. And you'll put on,
right.
you know,
so even though it's vegetarian, it's not necessarily
well, it'll be like
made with.
Yeah. So that I just like would accept that I wouldn't be able to like communicate with them that way, and I would just get like rice or like vegetable sushi rolls.
Is there any kind of, I mean, would you even be aware if there's any kind of vegan movement within Japanese culture or anything like that right now, or are they just completely dismissive or?
I think there's a movement within like the whole planet. I think a lot of people are becoming more aware of the issues of factory farming and the impact that it has on the environment. And so more people are becoming aware. And so maybe like 10 years ago, that wasn't really a thing there, but there were a few vegan restaurants there too. I went to one But
okay,
like,
so that really is
so
cool.
there is like a vegan culture there, but like it's just gonna continue growing. So, which is good because they're very like forward with like the planet and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
like their trash system is like there's not even a trash. It's like things that burn and then recycle plastic or recycle bottles.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it too.
We are so far behind in that regard.
I mean, little baby steps.
Yeah, we're getting there. So on the topic, since we're already kind of transitioning, what is your history? How did you get to become a vegan and kind of the animal rights activist that you are currently? You're pretty outspoken about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It just always felt right to me to treat animals like you would treat people.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, when did you transition into like? I mean, I grew up in a household that was very carnivorous, so it was very
Me too.
like it was never like this thought to even become a vegan, and so.
My family thought I was insane, and they still think I'm crazy
Really?
for it. Yeah, but like they don't fully understand it, but that's okay because not everybody does. Like we're all like doing our own thing. I'm not trying to like push it, but if someone has questions, then like I will definitely help like inform them because I just want to give people the facts.
Right.
And so I became a vegetarian first when I was 13. And so
Yeah.
I like told my parents like I don't want to eat meat anymore just because I just always felt bad about it and I just didn't want it. It just didn't feel right and it never has. And so they thought I was crazy.
Was it even like a PETA video you saw or anything like that, or is it just literally just clicking your brain automatically like I'm eating an animal, a living sentient creature?
Wow.
I should no longer be doing this. Like, and it was like an instant switch off for you.
Well, it's like, I don't know, I've always felt like I just really have always been passionate about animals. Like, I literally would I would bring home animals all the time.
Really?
So I just have always loved them so much.
Wait, did you have a lot of pets growing up, or like
I
did
had
you force
dogs.
your family to have a lot of pets?
I was definitely the there was a hurt bird and I brought her home kind of girl. Like I was just like that
That's
person.
hilarious.
But yeah, so I became a vegetarian when I was 13 and my family thought I was crazy, but they were like, as long as you do it the right way, obviously this is something that you're serious about because like it's not very common, especially then, because that was like 10 years ago. So I haven't eaten meat in 10 years. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I hope everyone's applauding it at home too. Just the pure. My buddy, one of my best friends, he's from Philadelphia, and he's vegan as well. Well, here's the thing: he moved to Arizona, and it was significantly more difficult for him to find like vegan restaurants or like find like good vegan food because he's like very much like a connoisseur of like food, and he's even like a chef himself, so he would like cook a lot of vegan meals. And honestly, he's the best cook I ever met. Like, literally,
Really?
I was like, if I could eat like you do every day, I would absolutely become a vegan. Absolutely, because this is so good. But he ended up dropping and started eating meat again very recently because he just had such a hard time adapting to like Arizona's lack of, I guess,
that
vegan
is crazy
culture
to me.
in comparison to like Philadelphia, which I think was just a lot more accommodating, and the East Coast in general being more progressive than Arizona, I imagine.
Well, I've definitely been in situations where it was hard, but that has never made me not want to continue doing it. Like even if I lived somewhere where people like didn't really speak English at all, like if I went to or moved to another country where veganism wasn't popular at all, I would still do it because it's so important to me. And it always has been, and I'm just so passionate about it that I just like it's like there's no other option.
There was no other option.
Yeah, so.
I think another thing, one of the things that I think would help someone like me become vegan or become more vegan is the fact that I've always had like a tumultuous relationship with food in general, and this might come off as silly or whatever because I'm like a skinny little dude, but like I've never been one to like I like good food and great like cooked food, but it's not something that's super important to me. And I think if I was able to drop this idea of like, oh, food has to be delicious every time I eat, like I have to have a delicious pizza every time I eat or whatever, I think if I dropped that notion, I think that would help me a little bit. And like I said, eating my friends' really good vegan food really turned me on to the idea. But I think that's definitely one of the things that I struggled with was just the idea of like trying to cook properly or get the right nutrition and things like that. Have you found yourself, because I eat purely out of like nutritional need, I've talked about in other Wine Wednesdays where I've literally starved myself to save money just to buy an album.
Yeah.
So like eating for me is literally just like a nutritional thing and not necessarily like a desire or pleasurable thing or anything like that. Have you found yourself, I know it's anecdotal, but have you found it to be like a healthier lifestyle, or do you have any information about kind of the effects on the body after going vegan?
Well, absolutely. It's so amazing for your body, and it's like, I really do think that people are just like brainwashed into thinking that it's not good for them, or where are you gonna get your protein? Like, people are always asking me that stupid question, but like,
really?
It's in everything, and it's like, vegan is not boring. Like, I love to cook, I love to bake, I make crazy stuff all the time.
That's true, yeah. If anyone doesn't know, every Eclipses for Eyes show, Lexi brings like vegan cupcakes and vegan brownies and things like that. And it's always delicious. I always grab one and I'm always super impressed.
Thank you.
But anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, it's all good. I love doing it, and I don't feel any kind of sacrifice as far as like, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. Because I can get anything vegan. Like, literally anything. I can go to the store and get a vegan cheesecake right now. Like,
really?
Yes. Like,
well, that's the opposite of my other friend was saying. He felt it was so restrictive. But again, I mean, you grew up in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken.
I've lived in a lot of different places.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, where did you grow up?
I'm from all around.
Where?
Well, I lived in California. I was born in California.
Where at?
In Oceanside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like really not that far away, but...
Oh, that kind of missed that, I imagine.
But I don't really remember because I was a little kid. But then I moved to Virginia, and I kind of grew up in Virginia and in North Florida. So I'm like from the South. Which made it even crazier that, like, I went vegan. Well, I went vegetarian when I lived there, but
I'm from
everybody was like...
Texas, Georgia, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Well, my family's very southern. My entire extended family, my immediate family, everyone's from either Texas.
What part of Georgia?
I grew up, well, we moved to Roswell and then we moved to Alpharetta, but just suburbs of Atlanta, basically.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite place I ever lived was Tennessee, which is probably more like Virginia. It's very pretty, rolling green hills, like 4 seasons. I really miss it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I lived in Virginia Beach. I've always lived by the water, except for here.
I know, Florida,
Virginia Beach.
Virginia.
Yeah, I lived on an island in Florida, and it was sick.
Really?
Yeah,
wait, like Key West? Or?
No, it's in North Florida, so it's like this really teeny tiny island.
What was it called?
It's called Fleming Island.
Definitely have not heard of it.
Yeah, like no one has. It's like near Jacksonville. It's like outside of Jacksonville, and it's very, very southern. The best way I can explain it is that, like, you know how like most people have sweet 16s?
Yeah.
Well, people there would have like parties to celebrate their first deer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that is how south it was. Okay.
That is very southern. As a former Georgian, I can test.
Like, okay,
the hunter culture down there.
Yeah, which was also weird because like I love animals, and I was just like,
right,
what? I feel like a crazy person. Like I'm just like, I love animals.
Oh
why are you killing them? Everybody, that's so normal. But like I'm the crazy one.
Not to go on a crazy tangent, but so we go every Thanksgiving. We go to my uncle's house. We still do in Austin, Texas. But he had he's like a Texas politician, and he had a really, really big house. Anyways, we'd go there, and we'd go to this entire upstairs is covered in animal head trophies because he was a big hunter back in his day. And they would make us sleep on this cot underneath like the most ginormous moose head. Of course, I was a little kid, so everything's a little ginormous, but I kid you not, like in my head, this thing was the size of like a mammoth, just huge. And I'd always have these nightmares of all the animals like coming back from the walls.
Oh my god,
and,
like Jumanji style.
Yeah, like, just like hunting me, like, and so me and my sister would be like running through the house, like scared of all the.
Oh my god, that sounds like a fun dream.
Yeah, I mean, not when I was like 6.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they say if you turn around and ask them why they're chasing you, you'll stop having that dream.
Really?
Yeah, I tried it once and it worked.
Well, next time I'm chased by a 7-foot moose, I will ask you what it wants from me. Hopefully it'll be nice to me.
Yeah.
I'll let them know I'm friends with you, and maybe that'll let everything go.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I know her. She's cool. But yeah, so health-wise, you feel like veganism's really helped. You started at 13. I feel like another thing with the veganism movement, I think any great movement, one of the hardest things to overcome is like apathy. or like trying to get people on board with your movement is just the general lack of care. So even though I'm seeing dead moose heads, and even though like I've grown up in that, it was hard for me to like. And it's not for a lack of compassion for animals. Like I've had dogs and cats in my life that I've grown up with that I loved. And I was at First Fridays this last week. I'm not sure if you're connected to the local PETA community or not, but like there's these PETA protesters that were basically they were standing in line on First Fridays wearing anonymous masks, and they were wearing TV screens, like these giant ass TV screens, just showing these horrible PETA videos, and it definitely like messed with me a little bit, more than a little bit. It was pretty disturbing, and I had to move right along.
I mean, that's the truth. I really hate to be that person, but like they're just trying to like we have a message, and it needs like people need to know the truth, and I think that you deserve to know the truth.
And you were talking about factory farms, and that's really where I think a lot of the horror goes down.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about like lab-grown meats and like bioengineered meats and things that aren't as...
I'm not sure.
Really?
I really don't have an opinion on it yet because I'm just like still just mind-blown by the fact that like people are like making meat in a lab. Like that just like, I'm still just like, I don't understand.
Yeah, okay. Well, I know for me personally, so my degree is in molecular and cellular biology. I'm sure they're sick of hearing it because I've said that pretty much everyone was in now. But like, so I'm like a huge nerd when it comes to this stuff. My professor, for one of my MCB classes, he helped bioengineer a corn that grows in arid climates and was using it for like developing poor African nations so they could grow more corn crops for like not even just food and whatnot, but like fuel and things like that. And so, like, I was always really interested in GMOs and things like that. And so, when I heard about the idea of lab-grown meats, I was like, well, that seems like the next step to me and where we're going as a society. And I think if we can make it healthy and cheap and cleaner than current meat, because, like, factory farms, I imagine also meat is just not healthy.
Yeah.
You know? We're eating chickens and cows that are, like, stuck in little pens eating... like crap.
Yeah, I mean, also it's just not good for your body. There's a lot of different reasons why people are led to the path of veganism or like plant-based diet, whatever you choose to call it. Because there is a difference between having a plant-based diet and being vegan.
Really?
Yes, the difference is that plant-based diet people will still buy things that are tested on animals, or maybe use a makeup product that has an animal derivative of it, but they just eat a plant-based diet. And veganism is so much more than just...
So they're more about the health, but you're more about the care and compassion towards animals.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you start for one thing and then you just realize like the importance and like the impact that you're making by doing it, and like all the reasons come to light. When I first went vegan was almost 5 years ago now. 4 years ago. It was almost 4 years ago now. And I went vegan because of the animals, and then I stayed vegan because of like the health benefits. Like I feel so good. I feel way better than I ever have before. I have so much energy all the time, and it's good for the environment. It's so much better for the environment. Like it's supporting.
I always thought that was crap. Like I didn't believe that like that was actually a greenhouse gas effect from like all the cows or whatever. But I was actually reading something earlier today about it, and it's legit. So it really is like consuming meat really is terrible for the environment.
Yeah, I mean, and dairy and eggs too, because it's like those animals need to eat, and you need to feed them for their entire life before you get the amount.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like you have to grow like 5 years worth of food to feed like this many cows before they can be killed and eaten. And so it's like you're wasting all that land, all that food that you're growing when you could just feed people with it.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of feeding something its whole life so you could eat it. Why don't you just feed yourself?
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, and so it's like it's a waste really of resources, I feel like, and we only have one planet, and we really need to start taking care of it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I definitely feel a compulsion towards cleaner gases, like not even just cleaner, like switching everything, like solar power. I'm a huge Elon Musk like fanboy, and I don't know. I definitely think also going to like lab-based meats and things like that would help the environment, because then we wouldn't have all the feeding of animals and things like that. It would just purely be growing cell cultures, which the amount of energy it would use would probably be efficient off solar panels and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely sustainable. And well, I'm really curious. I'm curious for you. You got to do more research then about the lab-based meats and come back to me on that.
I don't know.
Really curious.
I'm so skeptical because I'm like, I don't know. Like, they take the initial sample from an animal, though, right?
Yeah, it is.
So that would be enough for me to not do it, because it's just
But you can replicate that sample for ever.
Yeah.
So once it's there, it's there.
I do think it's a step in the right direction, though, because I think that, like, baby steps are everything, and, like, I'm not here to judge. Like, everyone's living their life how they want to, and, like, that's okay. But if you want to, like, make a difference and, like, you know, just take steps in the right direction, then, like, I'm just gonna do whatever I can to, like, help people, like, find the answers and, like, get the knowledge that they are looking for.
Yeah, I think this world. One thing,
I'm
I am dramatic. I definitely think I got the biggest respect for people like you, and I'm like, Hiram is a big vegan. There's a lot of vegans that I know.
I love Hiram.
Yeah, you worked with Hiram. He's awesome.
He's sick.
What up, Hiram, if you're watching? And I think that the world will be ready. I don't think the world will ever be able to fully go vegan until the day lab-based meats come out and make it so that it's cheaper than actual like killing of animals and raising of animals, and not only cheaper but like healthier and more accessible. Because like at the end of the day, I always feel like apathy is the biggest weapon against any movement. And so in the meantime, the best we can do for anyone who is interested in the movement or passionate about animals or is thinking about going vegan is to make those tiny baby steps into the right direction. But I do have ultimate hope for humanity with technology and with where we're going with biology and expanding that. What would your advice be to anyone who is considering taking that step and becoming vegan, like taking those baby steps until they can officially become Lexi 10 years off vegan?
Well, I think that the number one thing is to educate yourself, is to read, not fake news, find fake news, find reliable sources, read and watch documentaries, because that's going to educate you and help you like choose sustainability over something that you're just going to fall off of. Because some people fall off and like it's whatever, if it's like not in your path, then like that's okay. But like I think that people fall off because they like are either not educated about the whole thing. You know, like your friend has no idea he could go out right now and get vegan cheesecake.
He probably doesn't.
Like,
I'll hit him up. I'll text
you just
him
gotta let him know. Yeah. So like once you educate yourself and you find out, then it becomes like it's the only thing that makes sense. Baby steps though, like. You know, don't be too hard on yourself if you have it like an accident, you know, but like it's all like a learning process, and we're always like learning and growing and trying to figure out like a better way to do, you know, the next thing. So so you'll be proud of me. Today I was like, oh, where should I go for lunch? I ate Nectar because I was like, that's the closest thing to vegan I think I can get right now. So I went to Nectar and got like one of those acai bowls. Oh, those are good.
Yeah, it was super good. My drummer's all about it. He's been on this like crash course diet right now, and he eats Nectar like every day. And I also watched Blackfish on my lunch break.
I bawled my eyes out when I watched Blackfish. I don't even think I can talk about it. I'm gonna cry.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I saw a Facebook or an Instagram post. Sorry.
Oh God.
Wine and Blackfish.
Oh no.
Gotta get a little clear message off here. That shouldn't stop the video.
Okay.
One of my questions though was, I saw an Instagram post where you, I hope this is still going. We're still going, right? Yeah, we are. Where you were boycotting the local. Was it the aquarium itself, or was it just the dolphin aquarium?
It was the Dolphinaria specifically. That protest was for. I'm glad so many people saw that, because I've gotten so many questions about it, and if I would have just only gone to the protest and not posted anything on social media, then like not as many people would have like been aware.
Oh no, yeah, the exposure so, I'm sure from you alone was pretty massive.
Yeah, so. I felt really good and I felt like really right being there. But the protest was to to help try to convince people to not go to the Dolphinaires, to not go see the dolphins, because the people who are supporting it, you know, when you buy a ticket, then you're showing them that there is demand for that. And so, you know, we want to like stop doing that, because like if you stop supporting like these toxic industries that are like hurting things, then
and these are highly intelligent creatures
yeah,
too.
They really are.
They like just watching Blackfish. If you haven't seen Blackfish, you definitely need to check it out. It's pretty eye-opening in terms of
it's educational.
Just how sentient. I mean, obviously it focuses on killer whales, but dolphins are known to even be smarter and more intelligent than them. I think they're the most intelligent creatures on the planet, other than humans, obviously. But and I'm going to make it a confession to you. I did not go to the dolphin aquarium. My girlfriend and I definitely went to the actual aquarium. And we walked around. And the weird thing, so I always grew up with like fish tanks in my house and things like that. So I've always had like a passion for like just watching fish. And I don't even like know much about fish. I've never been fishing either. But it was just like, I just really enjoy it for whatever reason, the tranquility of it. And even like the little tiny tanks that they give these fish, or like the penguins, the otter exhibit was somewhat big, but like the penguin one was
compared to the ocean?
Not compared to the ocean.
There you go.
And so I was pretty blown away by like, see, I wouldn't have mind as much, because I feel like the ocean, there's so many predators and things like that. You're constantly, I mean, obviously I don't have the mind of a penguin, so I don't know like how much anxiety they have on a given day, but I can't imagine having too much anxiety living in like a super cozy place with a bunch of your buddies just hanging out. But at the same time, is it prison, or is it a refuge, or I don't really know how to perceive it, really.
Well, what I personally think, like my perspective on the situation is, you know, these animals are either taken from the wild from their families, or they're bred in captivity, and that's all they've ever known. And so that's really hard for me when I think about, like, we have the luxury of being able to do what we want to do. You know, if I want to walk as far as I can walk, I can just go do that. But they don't have that because we took that from them. You know, you think about, like, dolphins, for example.
That's only in America, though. I mean, you can't really just...
that's
a lot of other countries are a little more strict.
Yeah, they're like less privileged. I definitely recognize my privilege in that. But, you know, think about, like, I just don't want to take that from other animals. And, like, I don't go to the zoo. I don't go to the aquarium. I go to, you know, there are places where you can see animals. Go to the zoo. No. Because it's not, like, they're there against their will.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and it's the same thing.
You love animals.
I love animals, but, you know, you can go to sanctuaries. I've been to a couple. I went to one earlier this year that was incredible. And so a sanctuary is a place where, like, the animal can live out the rest of its life when it can no longer survive in the wild. And so I went to, it's called the Carnivorous Animal Sanctuary. It's in Denver. And so they specialize in carnivorous animals, but they have other things too. They have like, and they're all rescued, and they all like can't survive in the wild because they're either.
What kind of animals was it?
They had like tigers, lions, bears.
Oh my God! Wait, where was this?
In Denver.
Wow! Really?
Yeah, and it's like acres and acres and acres. It's huge. Yeah. And so you can just, like, walk around on these platforms, and you can just, like, look at the animals, and they have all this space, and they have, like, toys, and, like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it's
that was a little bit better, right?
It's way better because these animals are rescued. They're from... Every single area with the animals had, like, a little plaque that talked about the animal and, like, told their story. And so it was
Where were they rescued from? Not like wildlife, was it?
No, so people. So they're... Yeah, so they're... Well, actually, from people who... You know, they're like, oh, you know, it'd be so cool if I got a baby tiger as a pet.
Oh, God.
You know, and then this cute little baby tiger turns into this, like,
killing,
enormous, extremely dangerous, like, wild animal that's chilling on your couch. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't really like him anymore because he's too big. And then so they just, like... throw them outside in their backyard, and then maybe
gosh.
someone finds out, and then someone calls animal control, and then they'll just come and take them, and then the sanctuary will just take, you know, they were telling me about the bears. I went in February, and so it was still like the animals were supposed to be hibernating, like the bears. And they were trying to explain to me, like, okay, so the bears keep coming out, but we keep like trying to get them to go back in their den because they've never hibernated before.
What happens if they don't hibernate? Like, what's even the point of hibernating?
You know what? I don't even know. But I don't even know. But it was just like so cool and so touching to me that like these bears that were taken from the circus. So they were circus bears, and then
these were circus. Okay, I was wondering. I was like, who takes bears as pets? It's a little.
So yeah, it's for like all those animals were like people's pets from circuses, or maybe they were mistreated at a zoo.
So they wouldn't even be able to hang out in the wild.
They could not survive.
They
and
get
so
ripped apart.
that's like the point of like the animal sanctuaries, is that it's a safe place for these animals that can't survive in the wild to live out the rest of their lives in peace.
What a weird life for that animal.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine being a bear, and it's like he didn't know what was going on. It's like it was his first time he's ever been allowed to hibernate.
Yeah.
And it's like
no, dude, go sleep.
thing,
Here, take
like,
some like NyQuil.
Yeah. So it's just like that was just so touching to me, because they're like, you know, we're trying to get the bears to stay asleep because they've never hibernated before. And I was just like, I never thought about that. And I was like, man, like, I just don't want to take that away from anything. I don't want to take what isn't mine.
That's pretty incredible.
So that's why I don't support zoos and aquariums. And I donated money. The day that I went to that sanctuary, it was free. And so I just donated the money that I was going to spend on entry to the sanctuary. Because I was like, I was planning on spending this anyway, so I'm just gonna give it back to the animals. And they sent me a thank you card, and I put it on my fridge.
There you go. That's awesome, though. I like that. I'm actually going to Denver in about 2 weeks. So.
Oh, you should absolutely go if you have time.
I'll see if I can.
It's near the airport.
Yeah, I mean, it's me and my family. So my sister lives up there, around Boulder, between Boulder and Denver.
Oh, Boulder's so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm so pumped she moved up there. Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, I went hiking in the Rocky Mountains. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember you going on a vacation over there not too long ago. You were a little bit of a world traveler.
I go around.
You did?
Not in like an I get around kind of way, but I just like go around.
Not in a weird way.
I just go around. But, yeah.
Do you have a favorite place that you've been? Where's your favorite place in this world?
Oh God, I don't know. I feel like anxious to like explore everywhere. I feel like there's just so much, like, so many places.
Are you pretty into nature as well?
Yeah.
Because it comes with the animal.
Yeah.
I always feel bad because don't get me wrong, I love Arizona, but not really for the like. I mean, I guess like Sedona is pretty and things like that, but there's so much like. So this is why my best friend, who's actually going to be on Wine Wednesday in like 2 weeks. He says Arizona is iconic, and that's like how he perceives the beauty of Arizona. But for me, it was always just like everything is either dead or like about to die or like wants to kill you, because like everything's got needles or whatever. So I've always had a really hard time appreciating the beauty of Arizona. And I don't know if I have like a place that I really have. I think maybe like Italy or something would be cool, but only because I like history and museums and stuff and wine. Yeah. Oh, this is an Australian wine. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I could ever. I don't know if I'll ever leave Arizona, but I definitely don't appreciate the beauty of Arizona as much as I probably should. I don't know. What about you? Do you like are you pretty? You moved around a lot.
Yeah, I go around to all the places, but I didn't like Arizona when I first moved to Arizona. I really hated it.
What age were you?
Well, I lived in Tucson for a couple years, and then I moved here, so I was like 15. But I came from Florida, like on an island.
We were the same age.
Oh,
I was 15. Cool. Yeah, sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, I was going into my junior year.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, so I was like, whatever. So I really hated it.
And Tucson, ugh.
Yeah, well, you know.
They got better hiking now.
Yeah, they really do.
I love Seven Falls Romero Pools.
I love Seven Falls. I've done that hike twice. It's a really long hike, but it is so worth it.
I just like hikes that have payoffs, and Tucson hikes have massive payoffs.
Yeah, they really do.
And Lemon's great.
Yeah, I love Mount Lemon. Most people don't even know that this like amazing like foresty mountain.
Yeah, they even got a ski lift. I've skied down. I've snowboarded down Mount Lemon.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah.
It's not Colorado. But
yeah, it's something though. That's cool.
Something's better than nothing.
Yeah, I didn't like Arizona when I first moved here, but like as I got older, I started to really appreciate it for what it is, because it's like you could say that everything's dying and dead, but at the same time, it's like there are so many things that thrive here that like this is a hard place to thrive, and there are so many things and so many plants that thrive here, and it's like wow, they're like the tough ones.
It really is like an odd poetry. Like living here really is like a form of poetry. But you've seen that. I'm sure you've seen that Family Guy meme. Not Family Guy. King of the Hill meme where he's like Phoenix. It's like a testament to man's arrogance or whatever to be here. But I don't feel that way necessarily about the heat or whatever. The heat is whatever to me, and I do love our winters.
Me too.
I'm really just maybe because I grew up in the South all my life and I understand humidity and whatnot. But no, I do appreciate the tenacity that is Phoenix, and maybe that helps as a musician too. We just know,
it's
like,
a hard place, but you gotta be tough to be here.
That's
you know,
reality.
isn't that cool? I'll cheers with that.
Cheers.
Yeah.
One more question about kind of the activism that you do is I mentioned the Instagram post about the aquarium, but you also do a lot of like puppy Instagram posts.
Oh yeah.
That aren't your puppies.
Well,
you're slinging puppies on Instagram.
I know. I really don't want people to think that like I'm just trying to like. I'm not breeding by any means. Like I'm super against breeding, but
right. No, not puppy mills.
Yeah, this is not a puppy mill. I'm just trying to like find good homes. So I just this last year, something absolutely insane happened to me. So one of my friends found a dog, and I met the dog the day she found her, and I was like, oh my god, I just felt this like weird connection, like you were gonna be my dog. Like, I don't know, we just looked at each other.
Well, you took one of the puppies.
I took a dog.
Okay.
So, the plot thickens. I meet this dog, and I'm like, yay, we're friends, and then my friend was like, oh, I think I'm gonna keep her, and I was like, heartbroken. I was so sad. I was like, no! And then my friend was like, you know what? I don't think I can keep her. And I was like,
oh man.
And then so I took her.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, I was on the fence for many years about it. I had been wanting to get a dog.
Is this your first animal?
Sure.
As like a single human being, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I had dogs growing up, but I was just like, yeah. So I was like, all right, now's the time, I guess. Like, no time like the present. Like, she is better in my care than in a shelter's care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, shelters are great, but I can give her, like, even if I can't give her my all, it's still a bigger percentage than what she would get there. And so I was like, you know what? All right, cool. I'm just going to take her. It's going to be great. And then she started to get really fat. And then I was like, am I just like feeding her too much?
No.
I know it's been a while. Yeah. I was like, I know it's been a while since I've had a dog, but I don't think I don't know how to take care of one. So I took her to the vet. And I was like, you know what? I think she might be pregnant. And they're like, no. And then a couple weeks later, I have 3 puppies.
Well, it's only 3. That's actually kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy though.
Was that what it was?
Yes.
I did not realize that was the situation.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah.
You took a dog in that was pregnant.
And then I had 4.
And then you had 4.
And then I had 4 dogs.
So have you managed to find homes for the other ones yet?
I found homes for 2 of them. And so that was just like one of the most stressful but really rewarding and really fun but also really just like insane
oh my God, you had to take care of a pregnant puppy.
Yeah, so I have my dog and she's pregnant and then she has her puppies and then I'm like, oh God, I don't know how to do this. Like
what? Okay. So are you still looking for a home for the last puppy?
For one, yeah. So if anybody wants he's a little tan Chihuahua. He's about 6 months old now. He knows how to use a puppy pad. I'm working on potty training him, but yeah, we've been calling him Chiwi. We didn't name him for like the longest time.
Wait, how do you go with the name Chiwi?
Okay, well, this is really funny. Yeah, we've been calling him Chiwi. It's funny because my dog's name is Bee.
Okay.
So there's Bee and Chewy.
Bee and Chewy, alright.
Yeah, Bee. But Bee's after, I'm actually like secretly a super Dragon Ball Z nerd. Like,
oh, I remember that post you did like a year or 2 ago. With yeah.
So I'm just like a huge Dragon Ball Z nerd, and in this series, like the character Boo, like Majin Buu, the like villain, the like big pink guy.
Yeah, I remember him. Okay,
He
I remember him.
gets a dog, or he like meets a dog, and then the dog like kind of teaches him how to love, and so he like stops being evil. He stops being evil because the dog teaches him love.
He's not the guy that lives on the little planet, right?
No, that's a different guy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's King Kai. But yeah, I really know too much about this. But
dang, man, I haven't watched Dragon Ball Z since I was like.
Yeah, so Boo names the dog B.
B. Okay.
So then I named my dog B.
Then where did Chewie come from?
Chewie came because he looks like a Chihuahua. It was crazy because it's like I just adopted this dog.
Well, he is a Chihuahua, right?
I guess. I have
you
no
don't
idea.
know? Well, what kind of dog is your dog?
Street. Like, I don't know.
Just mutt to
she
the max?
looks super different though. Okay, so she looks like, judging on my internet searches, she looks like she is a Shih Tzu Scottish Terrier. She's like black, has like long fur, and she's like 10 pounds. But he's like tan and has short fur and like is definitely a Chihuahua.
So your dog got it on with the Chihuahua.
I guess.
Apparently.
And the other two puppies were black and short hair. And so it was just mystery puppies because I was like, man, this is crazy. I have no idea. Thank you, by the way. I have no idea what these puppies are going to be. I just like had puppies.
That's so exciting.
I had to take
like
care of them. It was so stressful. Like I would get home and just like 3 little like, and they'd all like be jumping, and I'm just like.
Do you have roommates or anything?
Yeah, I live with Cameron, my guitar player.
Your band?
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
my bandmate. So yeah. So he helped me, thank goodness, because I would not have been able to do it alone. So that is, yeah, it was just so crazy. Helps. Yeah, but yeah.
I honestly thought you were working with a local shelter. I didn't realize they were your own puppies.
Yeah, it was insane, but it was also like I feel so good about it because even though like it was really stressful and it was like a lot of money too, like you know getting the puppy pads and taking care of the babies and like all that, it was like I was able to like find them homes because if my friend who found B never found her, and if my friend didn't give me her, then I wouldn't have had that like opportunity to like help raise these babies and like find them homes, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, what if she was never found? What if she like gave birth to these puppies on the street?
Yeah.
You know? And it's like
wild. And they got good homes now.
Yeah,
right?
and I was super strict about it. Like I was like, you know, I want to make sure that I'm not just gonna give a puppy to anybody.
Right.
Like no way. So I like made sure that they were like good people, you know.
Sad story that I didn't plan on talking about until now was I had this girl from back in college who, awesome girl. You're not watching it, whatever. But she was like determined that she wanted a dog. I guess she was feeling lonely. I had moved away. I just graduated. She had 1 more year left. And she was determined to get a dog. And I was like, please don't get a dog. Because I know you're not going to be able to take care of it.
It's a life commitment.
Yeah, I was like, I know you're not going to be able to take care of it. You got school, you got work, you got like all these other commitments. You're just not going to have the time for it. And they take a lot of work. And so naturally, she didn't listen to me. And bought a puppy. And had it for about 2 or 3 months before, it was too much work. And she had to give it back, and it was slowly already getting out of his puppy phase. Like now it's so much harder to get that dog sold, and I just felt so bad. I think that dog ended up finding a home though after her.
That's good.
It was a beautiful, beautiful dog. I don't remember what kind it was. Also just a crazy mutt off the street probably.
Those are the best.
But yeah, I mean it's really hard for like, they're the healthiest.
Yeah.
My family had 3 dogs. We had a standard poodle from, I'm sure, some kind of puppy mill that ended up dying after 4 years because of like a liver failure. Mm-hmm. We had a labradoodle because we thought poodles were really smart, but we were like, oh, they're too feminine. My dad wanted one.
Oh yeah.
So we got a labradoodle, and it ended up being the dumbest freaking dog. And this is horrible. You're gonna cry when I tell you.
Oh no.
It saw a squirrel. We're living in Georgia. It saw a squirrel, and we had this big porch as is custom in Georgia, and it jumped off the porch to get to the squirrel, and it broke his back and died. And
oh my god!
What
the fuck? You're still lay that on me? Oh my god! Don't put that on me!
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ!
But we got a third dog. We had a third dog. She was a mutt.
This is a roller coaster of emotions.
I'm sorry.
I just want you to know.
Welcome to my life as a child. Puppies were
What?
We have a guest in the room, Mr. Cameron.
What's up?
And we just found out that Hugh Hefner passed away.
Whoa.
That's pretty crazy.
Wow,
man.
okay.
I mean...
Wow, you get our first reactions here on Black Wednesday.
I don't have time
to... All right, one for him. Yeah. Let's go.
To you, man.
This just in moment.
Man, I mean...
Moments ago, y'all. Hugh Hefner.
That was one of those things that you just knew was always going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, dude is old as hell, so
he's old.
He's probably ready for it.
It was his time.
I'm sure he had a pretty great
life.
life.
It's way too soon for that life.
Dude had a great life. I'm sure he's got 72 virgins in heaven as well, or whatever.
Oh man. You know what? I got too distracted and I forgot that I didn't tell you what the wee part came from, but about Chiwi.
Okay, yeah, we gotta finish this story.
Chiwi, because he's a chihuahua, and wee because he gets excited and he pees.
Oh, that's a great name.
So we called him Chiwi.
Oh my god.
And it just stuck, and it's kind of funny because I get home and I'm like, my little Chiwi. And then he runs over to me.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Alright, if anyone wants a little chihuahua mix named Chiwi, hit up Lexi.
He pees less now.
Yeah, he pees far less, just so everybody knows. I'm training him, and, you know, I'm a pretty good trainer, like.
Oh, I'm sure you are. Honestly, I thought you were working for like a shelter or something.
No, it's just like a totally independent, accidental puppy situation.
Accidental puppy situation.
We've got a puppy situation over here.
Alright, I got a 180 because we definitely got to talk about Eclipses before we wrap this thing
absolutely.
up. Your new album, Polaris, came out like a month or two ago. I love it. First thing I gotta say, my first impression of it is just the sheer aggression of the kind of a couple of the tracks, but now I've drank too much wine to say this right. Shere Khan.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the opening track, and of course the single "Left of You" is probably my next favorite.
Thank you.
And then actually the song before Fire, where it's kind of quiet, I thought was really dope. But the Fire is I'm just gonna name the aggressive tracks. So I think it's really interesting how heavy you guys hit as a band. Was that like a direction you guys like intended to go? I'm really doing 180, so I apologize. But we got to talk about the band.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was y'all's like mindset going on to the new record?
Yeah, it's like kind of crazy because it's like we just wrote songs. We just wrote songs.
You just went for
it? We just
it?
did what felt right, and you know, sometimes like. You write something and then someone like you think about it for too long and then you write another thing or you change it or whatever. And like we did a lot of that, which is like kind of why it took us so long to complete it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think it was all worth it because now I have this product that I'm like really proud of. Like it's pretty aggressive, but at the same time, I feel like everything that I was going through when I wrote that album, I feel like I got it out. You know?
Oh, I love it.
I feel so liberated and like just so like I've released this like thing that had like pent up in me for too long.
And I mean, I'm going to ask you about kind of your role in it, but also just like Cam and Alan's like the riffage that they have. You guys are a very riff heavy band. Anyone who isn't hasn't experienced Eclipses for Eyes, they just have the most head banging like rockin' music. And so what is like the writing process go through? I know you're also a guitar player and a musician as well.
I don't know. I dabble.
But I imagine like the majority of like the riffage stuff is coming from Cam and Alan and very talented guitar players.
Yeah.
So is it essentially like they're just writing these hooks and they're sending it your way, or like I said, did you guys have like a certain direction kind of entering the album that you wanted to hit?
Well, we used to have like a way that we wrote songs, and you know we would like sit down, do it acoustic, whatever. Like I always write my lyrics like whenever on like my own time, and then I'll just like sit down with them, and then they have like an idea of like whatever part that they think is cool, and then we'll sit down and like make a song come together. But like this time around, it like was different every time. You know, like sometimes they would like have an idea and I would be asleep or like at work or something, and so they would like, you know, just create this song, and then I'd be like, whoa, like this is crazy, and then I'd have to like sit down with it and try to work with it and stuff, and so it changed, like, you know, the process is different every time, and like that's kind of cool about songwriting is that you know, it's not always the same. It's always like kind of this crazy adventure.
This mismatch. You guys also had like kind of a mismatch of producers going into it too, didn't you?
Well,
you started with Ludlow and switched over to Hiram. Is that something like that, or?
Well, we have always tracked with David Ludlow, and so he recorded our like drums and guitars, and we like did the you know, all the extra noises and production stuff with him. And then I sat down with Hiram just to like kind of try to like brainstorm some stuff, just because I kind of got stuck in like a little bubble.
Right.
I felt like
yeah. Well, Hiram's a brilliant writer.
Yeah, he's awesome. But yeah, and so then like I kind of like got out of that little bubble, and then I figured out what I wanted to do, and then we went to Dan Parker to record vocals.
Oh, that's right.
And
to Dan, man.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So we recorded vocals with Dan Parker, and he
is
like
great with vocals.
God, he's so amazing. Like
he's also a great writer too. If anyone doesn't know Dan Parker, he's from A Change of Pace.
Yeah, but he has a studio, and it's like, he's an incredible brain.
Change of Pace, and I didn't realize. Oh man, that makes so much more sense. Because I do love the vocal quality that's coming out with that.
I was so happy. Like, I recorded the songs, there's 7 songs, and I recorded them 7 days. 7 songs.
Wow, you cranked that out in 7 days?
Mm-hmm.
Your voice held up?
Mm-hmm. Well, we separated it like maybe like 4 days 1 week. 3 days
okay. I thought you did it consecutively.
No,
I was like,
not just like 7 straight days.
Like one day in the studio, vocals is
like,
enough to just crash me. I usually do, what I'll do is I'll record for like guitars and all these things like in the beginning half of the day, and I usually have all my other vocal stuff fleshed out ahead of time. So then I'll like at the end of the night when it's late, when your voice is like super warmed up, then I'll go and I'll crank out like 2 or 3 hours. Not even, I'll do like 1 or 2 hours of vocals just because my voice is at that like prime spot.
Yeah.
And then I'll back out, and then I'll, do another day.
I think a lot of people don't realize how physical singing is. Like, obviously you're using your body, but like, my like vocal quality like has so much to do with how much water I drink, and like was like yelling a lot the day before. Like, it's just like all these things.
Do you have like a warm up routine or
I
like
do.
A practice routine?
If I have a show or if I'm recording, well, also, this is interesting. I also, because I'm vegan, I don't eat dairy, and dairy is really bad for your voice. So, like,
for sure.
So that
I avoid dairy on show days. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I did before I went vegan too. So then, like, that was just kind of like,
how
that's
long
cool.
have you been singing for?
My whole life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in a musical family?
I mean, my dad played guitar when I was little, but that was like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
cool. We would like play songs together.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, so I wake up and I'll either take a shower, sometimes I don't, and then I make breakfast, and then it's like so important to me to like get into this like good headspace, so it's very important to me to like have my coffee, which is like something that like a lot of people like are like, oh my god, you're singing, like why are you drinking coffee? And it's like I used to not do it, but it's so important to like my happiness. Which sounds crazy, but
well, your side hustles. You're a barista, right?
Yeah. I love it so much, and I'm so addicted to caffeine that like I need it. So it's just like become this thing where it's like it's part of my day, and if I don't have it, then I don't feel like I have a day. Like it's crazy.
Dude,
like
I got eaten alive on my last Wine Wednesday because I told everyone I don't drink caffeine.
Oh my god, good for you!
I avoid it.
You probably saved so much money.
Well, I used to work at Starbucks, and I had workers who were so addicted they would come in on their days off, and they have to have like 12 shots of espresso just to be like a functional human being. So I was like, no, like this is a legit drug, guys.
It really is, and you're a dealer when you're a barista.
Yeah.
They keep coming back, but I steam, which is like,
really?
I don't know if you know what that is.
Well, I mean, in the showers, I like hot showers. They usually get me warmed up, but do you actually like have?
I have a steamer. I have like a little thing that I like put water in and like plug in and turn on, and it has like a little mouthpiece or like a face piece thing.
Oh, it's meant to like.
Yeah, it's like meant for that, and it's so good when you're sick too, because you just like do it and you just like cough up all the stuff in your lungs. Like it's so good for you. Like definitely would recommend. But
oh my god,
I got mine at Walgreens.
Did you ever do,
for any singers out there, go to Walgreens, get a steamer.
Have you ever done throat coat or anything like that?
No, but I don't feel like I need it.
I mean, you don't.
I just don't feel like I need it.
That's something that I used to do, and then I stopped doing it because it would change the quality. it wasn't that it made my voice any better or worse. It just changed the tonal quality of it, and I was like, I like the way my voice sounds like on a good day.
Exactly.
So I just get myself ready for a good day.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why you just got to do what makes you happy, and it's like crazy because, like, for me personally, like, if I'm like grumpy, if I didn't get enough sleep, if like I don't have my coffee, then like that's gonna affect how I sing, and it's like so like it's just so important to me to like make sure that like I have like the things that I need, you know, and they're not crazy requests. I just need to have my coffee and I need to get a full night's sleep.
Well, this is something that I think is really important. That my favorite thing about watching you live, you're one of my favorite front person in any band. But for real, and your music, I particularly like it. Because of, and it's the same, the way it transposes live, is you sing, and I hope this isn't like offensive anyway, but you sing almost angry. Like you sing like, and I was told when I was in the studio once with actually Corey Spots, Corey told me like, please sing angry because it's the most translatable emotion and it can like go across the spectrum of emotion. So if like get kind of like in this like, be a little angry when you sing. And it'll just like, because the one thing you can't fake in the studio, the one thing that you can't auto-tune is emotion. And so it is like, be angry because it's the one emotion that pops out more than any other, and it'll cover the gambit of the other emotions as well. So when I see you live, and when I see you, and I listen to your recordings, there's like an emotional hit that I feel off of your music that I don't on almost any other band, because it is the way you project your emotion into the song.
Aww.
And you usually, I think it's cool that you're telling that your routine is about getting in the right, not just like the right like vocal space, but the right head space and the right emotional space.
It's so important to me.
Yeah, you really enter into the mindset, the emotional set, and all before jumping into the actual singing process, which I think is what makes you an exceptional singer. And not just some, like just going through the motions kind of singer. So if anyone has a chance to see them live too, like you'll see what I'm talking about. Lexi is a very high energy, high intense singer. And I had a question about angry singing, but I think you kind of already hit like kind of getting into the mindset of it. Yeah. So like whether it's performing or whether it's being in the studio, I imagine it's the same thing for you, right?
Yeah, it's very different. And at the same time, it's very the same. Like, it's the same in the fact that I have to mentally prepare myself. I have to physically prepare myself, I need to make sure that I get my full night's sleep, get my coffee, do my steaming, do my vocal warm-ups, and like, all right, I'm in a good spot. But like, when I record, like, it's such a, like, I have to try. So, like, it's like a different kind of, when I go to the studio, I'm trying to learn too. So it's like, I want to like try to be, a student when I'm in the studio. And it's like, I'm getting my art out there and like, I'm like expressing myself, but at the same time, like, it's so important. Like the people I work with are like, have been doing music for so much longer than I have that I feel like if I listen and pay attention and ask questions, and I will get so much further than if I didn't. And so I make sure that I'm in that mindset when I go into the studio, and then when I'm like performing and like playing shows, I just want to like feel good, like, I want to like interact with people and make that like human connection and like just try to like, have like the most organic relationship with all these people as possible.
Right.
So that way, it's just like a good time for everybody. It's more like performing is so much more about like entertainment, because it's like when I go to a show, I don't want to just have the music be good. And I know that sounds horrible as a musician, but like I want to be entertained. Like
it's got to be an experience,
exactly,
right?
And I want to give that to people, which is why like I bake cupcakes and I like, I like talk to people and I like bring all these lights and I'm just like, hello everybody, like, because I want it to feel like this like experience, because that's what I would want.
Yeah, I grew up in the scene, and to me that was always like the shows that I come away with like the memories for are the ones that people go the extra mile to do that kind of thing. I still to this day, I'll say the top, probably like the third best show I've probably ever seen, or second best show I've ever seen, was, it might even be the first best show, but I'm too much wanting to think about it right now, it was an all-girl band, Oh, well, it was Megan Dia. Do you remember Megan Dia?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Megan Dia?
That was a long time ago.
Oh, it was super long ago. Well, I went there for like the local bands that were opening and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't care what I was making. It was like super pop, and it was like not my thing. But then I watched them, and they were like chucking their guitars in the air.
Oh my god, really?
And there was only like 15 of us. There was only like 15, 20 people in this little tiny. It was at the one place. Y'all don't even know that where that venue is. No, it was called. It was like literally a venue called the One Place. It was right by Modified Arts. It's a really old venue that no one probably knows about unless they're around my age. But yeah, and they were just like knocking over mic stands. And these girls, like, even though it was like only like 20 people in this room, they put out so much energy, and they were so dedicated.
Oh god, I love that.
Right, and I was like, and ever since then, I've always told my band, like, go all out. I was like, don't hold back. I was like, hit the notes, make it sound right. But I was like, I care more about your actual energy and your performance and your emotion than I care about your ability to hit the right notes on guitar.
Yeah.
Because to me, and most of my bandmates now are definitely better at it than the bandmates I had in the past. But like, I love bands like the Chariot and stuff.
Oh,
like,
I love the Chariot. Yeah. Oh,
bands
yes.
like
I have like hardcore roots. Like I love hardcore music.
Oh, that's the other thing I was gonna ask. You guys are so heavy and so riffy at times. I'm like, you guys gotta have some kind of metal background.
I love hardcore music and I love pop music. And I don't really listen to anything in between, which is really
And you guys
funny.
are such like a weird blend of yeah, you guys riff so hard, and then
but then I'm like
you have to catch these choruses.
Thank you.
Sharks is still probably my favorite song. You got a little shark bite tattoo right there too.
Yeah.
That's not. Is that about the song or at all?
It's not. I just like sharks.
You just like sharks. Yeah, no, that chorus probably gets in my head more than any other chorus.
That's awesome.
And and the post chorus and Left of You really gets.
Oh yeah. I'm really proud of Left of You. I'm proud of all the songs, but Left of You just like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's had a very special place in my heart.
Yes, yeah. And that video came out really good too.
Thank you.
What else? So what else? We'll wrap this up. I had other questions, but we're already getting too long here. Give us some promo before we start doing questions and answers.
Well,
what do you guys got coming up? You got any more shows, videos?
We're just working on stuff really hard right now, and pretty soon you'll see the stuff.
Oh, come on. Tours?
I'm gonna be that person.
Alright, that's fine. I can keep it secret.
But in the meantime, the way that you can keep up and find the updates is to follow us on social media.
Mm-hmm. What are your tags? Give me your tags.
Tag us. So, Eclipses for Eyes everywhere. So, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. So yeah, Eclipses for Eyes on any of those things if you want to follow us. And then I'm Eclipses for Lexi for anyone who wants to follow me personally.
Do it. Follow both. Yeah. I'm telling you. Lexi's a very interesting person. All right, we're going to go back to questions and answers. Okay. Yeah. So if anyone's still watching, I'm sorry, it's been a long one, but
sorry.
Give us your questions. So let's go through these. My sister disagrees with our choice of wine tonight, but Tara, we had to do it because it's vegan. I actually had so the wine that I had chose it's called Sheep Thrills, and there's little sheep parachuting down the bottle. So anyways, that was the wine we had originally selected, but we weren't sure if it was vegan or not. So in honor of Lexi's commitment, we went with Yellowtail. And to anyone, actually, I've never had just a pure Merlot Cabernet blend. I've had plenty of red blends, but this one in particular is really good. So definitely recommend. And all the wines I get are usually like between around the $10 mark. So I don't do expensive wines for my guests. This is from my girlfriend. What's your opinion, or Anna Katrina? I should say names. I shouldn't just. What's your opinion of the Wolf Mountain Sanctuary in California that was made somewhat famous by Demi Lovato a while back? That is a complex question, but then
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
So I've never heard of it. That's my answer.
Anna, come if you're listening. Anna, you can come into the room. She's dyeing her hair right now, so I don't know if she'll come in. She's across.
I've never heard of it, but
the
apartment. If anyone is trying to like promote just trying to help out endangered and like animals, in general, then I support that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
I
a
don't care who's
sanctuary.
saying it as long as they're saying the facts.
Yeah, I don't know if is Demi Lovato like an animal rights activist at all.
I don't know.
I know she usually
I
does
know,
like mental
Miley
health
Cyrus
awareness. Is she?
Mm-hmm.
Is she vegan?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Go with Miley Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
Rio says, Lexi, Derek, I heart you both. Rio, you know we love you. His album comes out in 2 days. Everyone go buy it.
Sick.
Anna, what's your favorite vegan meal to make? Oh, okay. So the other thing is, me and Anna were gonna make meals for all our guests.
Aww.
So we could sober up after the wine. But we couldn't think of, so Anna's like, I don't know, like what can I make? Like I can make like a fruit salad.
Oh, you know what is so easy but like vegan but like everybody loves is spaghetti. And it's so cheap.
I guess you're right.
And it's delicious. Like it takes like 10 minutes and it's so good. So yeah.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
I like that. We can make spaghetti next time. Next time we come through here. And okay, that's it. That's all we got for comments.
All right.
So everyone go follow Eclipses.
Well, thanks for having me. This is really awesome, really fun.
This is super fun. Yeah. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Okay,
bye everyone. If you got comments or anything later, let us know and we can answer later. All right. And